today, can he wrestle his followership from Simon Ekpa?
There's a division because of the arrest and detention. So Simon Ekpa felt that he has to carry on the struggle now that the leader has been taken in. That is it. So if he's released today, it is likely, very likely, that he has to come to terms with Simon Ekpa to back down. Simon Ekpa is only acting because of his absence. He didn't say that he has overthrown him. Even when he wrote a letter from DSS custody directing that there should be no more sit at home and there should be no more arms against the state, Simon Ekpa said until he comes out physically that he will not believe that he wrote that under duress.
Of course.
That he wrote it. You cannot freely write something in this DSS. When you are in custody, you now write something. It is not voluntary. So it is on that basis that he continued doing what he's doing. Simon Ekpa is the disciple of Nnamdi Kanu and a very dedicated, loyal disciple. I believe that if Nnamdi Kanu comes out, he will be able to tame Simon Ekpa. And many of these criminals that have cashed into the struggle or kind of tried to hide under IPOB to commit atrocities, they will be fished out or they will be controlled. Remember that this man, Nnamdi Kanu, people listen to him. So if he comes now and declares a truce, I believe that it will work. And those who try to violate that truce will easily be fished out. They will be sidelined. They'll be exposed. Now, people are picking up arms out of resistance or protest to his extraordinary rendition. That is it. Before he was extraordinarily renditioned, there was no spate of violence like we see after his arrest. So it is a kind of protest against the way the state has treated him. So I believe that if he should come out now, all that will abate. But let me also say that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is not entitled to be listening to one person or the other as to whether or not he will exercise his powers under the Constitution. Section 174 of the Constitution, subsection 3, like my learned friend pointed out earlier, only gave 3 conditions for the exercise of the power of withdrawal of criminal prosecution. It says that the Attorney General should only give vent to 3 factors. One is public interest. The second one is interest of justice. The third one, to ensure that such withdrawal is not against due process of law. And then we are talking about justice here. Interest of justice. It is on that basis the president must act, no matter what any of his commissioners thinks, no matter what any Southeast governors think, in the interest of justice. Because if you can release the chairman or leader of Miatala that has been saying all kind of terrible things against Nigerian state, you release him, you withdraw his charge and he goes home, and then you release Showore, and he goes home, you release Sunday Igboho, withdraw his charge, and he goes home. Then where is justice? Where is equity?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on wherever you are watching us from. It's another edition of Politics on the Street. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, share, comment for more political discourse. Yesterday, a security expert has come out to say that the Nigerian government, which is the federal government, is playing game with the Southeast over the beliefs of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You've always maintained your stance too. That interest is keeping Mazi Kanu in detention. So now, have you been justified by that statement? Because that video making rounds was actually attributed to a security expert, in which he said that.
Dave, you see, a lot of things that will come on this platform to review tells you, about our own perception, and perspective to development surrounding Nnamdi Kanu's continued illegal detention, and it's not far from the truth because, if you look at what the law says, and Nnamdi Kanu, you discover that Nnamdi Kanu shouldn't have been in the first place where he is today, but we are seeing a development in that regard. So the fact is that, when you look at it deeply, the security expert might not be far from the truth. Considering the fact that the federal government themselves know very well that they cannot actually win Nnamdi Kanu in the court because those charges were frivolous. One, those charges were unattainable. Two, they were just done in bad faith. So that is why people are looking at it from that direction. That the federal government has an ulterior motive, in keeping Nnamdi Kanu in detention. And let me prior to that, when Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped from Kenya, we saw the kind of devastation, the socio-economic activities in the entire eastern Nigeria, went down to the extent that, every Monday it is being speculated in the media that the southeasterners lose up to 50 billion on daily basis. Yes, every Monday, giving that, and that almost drained the economy of that region. So it is a deliberate act, to cripple the economy of Southeast, and it was a calculated, threat in that regard. So what the former president, talking about Muhammad Buhari, did, was just to leverage on that, to weaken the Republican nature of the Eastern Nigeria, the industrious nature of the Eastern Nigeria, until they begin to realize, until that consciousness begin to come, that these things wouldn't continue. And of course, you can see that Nnamdi Kanu also made an official statement, in that regard, because he loves his people. He has already sacrificed himself for the people, so he needed people to understand that, like what Jonathan said, he said his ambition does not want anybody's blood. And you can see Nnamdi Kanu from that perspective, of calling off the one-day sit-at-home that almost crippled the economy in the East. So if the security expert is telling you that he's saying that it's a deliberate act by the federal government to keep Nnamdi Kanu there, to kind of weaken the economy, and maybe cause more insecurity in the entire Eastern Nigeria. Of course, the Igbo consciousness came into play, and you saw how they were able to come together, and be able to stop or even checkmate, all those kind of excesses by the federal government.
Yesterday, the federal government dismissed a suit in which was filed by Nnamdi Kanu for his illegal detention. And then he also said that the federal government should pay him about 1.4 billion, in which for his illegal detention. We saw that case was being dismissed by the Federal High Court in Abuja. I don't know if you've read that story, sir.
Yes, if you look at it very well, you understand that there was a movement, a pronouncement on that direction, and of course the IPOB leadership, and of course Nnamdi Kanu has already appealed, that judgment. They have taken it to the appeal court, where they are going to pursue that matter in that regard. We are expecting that a lot of compensation will be done. There was one that was awarded to Nnamdi Kanu some time ago. The Kenyan government also awarded some percentage, some money to Nnamdi Kanu, for going contrary to treaties that bind Commonwealth when Nnamdi Kanu was, kidnapped from Kenya. So it is a matter of fact, and days are begin to see, the development coming from that angle, where Nnamdi Kanu decided to take the matter beyond Federal High Court, and of course appeal the judgment.
But sir, don't you think that psychologically this keeping of Nnamdi Kanu in detention, it will derail this psychologically? Nnamdi Kanu will be derailed. And then that fighting spirit might no longer be there. Do you think, do you think it is a tactics by the federal government? Just to make sure that this Biafra agitation dies forever.
If you look at Nnamdi Kanu physically, spiritually, and otherwise, you know that he's a resilient soul. He's a resilient spirit. He carries the real, the raw Biafran, undiluted Biafran spirit.
He carries the undiluted man.
You understand? Whenever you see him, anywhere, any day, So, and he has made it very clear to everybody. I think he should be the first agitator in the history of the world to have come out to say, as a freedom fighter, you are expected to either be in the prison or in the grave, and of course in exile. You see those three things, that means the consciousness of Nnamdi Kanu is fully aware, of the consequences of stepping or putting yourself forward as a freedom fighter, not only from the Western world, but from the African continent, where they see an African man, a black man, reason archaically, to things that surround him, social economic activities and thereabout. So if you are telling you that that at the time you cannot to push somebody to a wall, and the person begin to develop a very thick skin, at this point in time, people will be surprised to see an advanced agitation when of Nnamdi Kanu any moment from now, and that's what everybody is expecting. The world is celebrating him all over the world. People are making different comments. A lot of people are saying wonderful, beautiful things about him. You can see, even in Nigeria, Nnamdi Kanu has continued to Biafranize the consciousness of so many Nigerians as I'm talking to you today.
Sir, lastly for let you go, sir. Do you think that if Nnamdi Kanu is not being released by come 2027, do you think that might scuttle the 2027, that the Southeast might boycott the 2027 presidential election?
Nnamdi Kanu is not going to be there till 2027. No matter how you look at it, no matter how we're able to forecast, in that, I'm telling you that in just no distance time, Nnamdi Kanu is going to be free. Nnamdi Kanu can never stay there till 2027. And if that happens, don't be surprised, that Nigeria as an entity might likely embrace, fury at the end of the day, because you can see that the pressure is enormous. The strength of the Nigerian government, the strength of Nigerian unity, which is the crude oil, might be by at the end of the day, refuse to pump because of the kind of massive devastation that will happen to oil facilities as a result of illegal detention of Nnamdi Kanu. Already they have issued a statement in that regard. And let me tell you, there's nobody should take the Biafrans, for granted, because if you look at it very well, the humble looking of a lion does not mean that the lion is weak, So it's not a threat anyway, but I'm just telling you that, the Igbo man has spread all over the world, and you cannot predict them, when they are being pushed to an extent, they don't have anywhere to lay their hand on. Of course, that's what I'm telling you, that the attack will be something Nigerians will live to remember for the rest of their life.
The attack will be something Nigerian government will live to remember for the rest of their life. Thank you for that wonderful submission, Mr. Chinedu Michael.